Okay, so this video is going to go more in depth than the last video, and rather than just sticking to presets, after we've set up our aux buses, we're going to actually set up channel strips. So we'll just go right in and enjoy. Okay, so here we are. This is exactly where we left off last time. The only thing that I'm going to do to kind of bring us back to square one is I'm going to reset these two channel strips that we used the presets on. And then also there's a pretty handy... I never panned anything in the last one either, so we'll do that. But there's a pretty handy... you can just hit Option and click anywhere, and it will automatically bring everything back to 0. And this works on panning too. Like say I'm panning this overhead all the way over here, I can Option click and it goes back. So I'm actually going to pan these overheads a touch. A lot of new engineers, they want to pan the overheads into the far left and right, and it makes it sound really unnatural. Like imagine you're just sitting about 10 feet in front of a drum kit as it's playing, where the extreme left and right of the sound would come from, and it's only like, less than 45 degrees off. So keep that in mind when you're panning your overheads. And then I want my room to be down. Okay, so now we've got a good starting point. So instead of bringing in a preset on the kick channel, I'm going to double click the EQ, and we're going to start with EQ. So the first step is to kind of pre-mix everything so it sounds as good as possible without plugins. So my overheads are peaking a touch. I'll bring them down, and they were just too loud in general. I'm going to bring the room down also. Actually, I'm going to turn the room off for now. And then we're not going to worry about the toms for now either. So that's just a little bit dry sounding. We'll bring the overheads back up a little bit. So it's important to mix with the overheads in because they actually contribute a lot to the attack of the sound. So let's listen to just this kick track, but we're going to listen to it with everything on. It's actually recorded so it's not too boxy. A lot of times you get a boxy sound, but we're going to kind of enhance it a little bit too. So we want to take off any extremely low rumble. So this is called a high pass filter, and this is just a channel EQ. So we're going to hit that, and we're going to roll it off to where we don't. So it just takes down the extremely low subsonic frequencies. And this is how steep the curve is. So we're going to go a very steep curve right there. You probably won't be able to hear a difference. But all it's going to do is free up that very low rumbling that goes on. And then also a good way to find the attack is to just grab one of these, and we're just going to move this around while it's playing, and we can hear exactly where the click is. So here we go. So we've got a lot of click right at around 2850 hertz. So I mean, this already has a lot of click in it, but now we know that if we want to bring up the attack of the kick drum, we can just bump it right there at 2850 hertz. And then another good thing with kick drums is they have a lot of times they have that boxy sound. This one doesn't have as much of a problem, but still, if you take out a pretty good chunk, and by chunk I mean Q. Q means how wide of a chunk you're choosing. So I'm going to take a chunk like this, and I'm just going to move it down around here, and you can hear that boxiness go away. Here, I'll just start it. So if I turn it up loud, you can hear that boxiness. So now it's subtle, but if I bypass this, you'll be able to hear a pretty good difference in the sound. So what I've done is focus it. I want just a touch more low end, so I can grab this frequency, and actually I'm just going to pull it up just a touch. And I'm actually going to move it to around 100. That's where I want it to start clicking, and I'm going to lower the Q so it's a little bit wider. There we go. That should be good. Let's give it a listen. So that's good for now. And that kick drum actually sounds pretty good. It doesn't need a whole lot else. The only thing else I'm going to do is I'm going to do a compressor. And what a compressor does is it turns up the low signals, and then so everything is kind of evened out. I'll turn it on right now and see. So this threshold tells me how loud it has to be before the compressor starts turning it down. So that little quick setting right there, you can actually bring up a preset in here, but we'll just so the attack is how long it takes after it hears the transient before it starts turning down, and the release is how long it goes after. So we're actually going to turn it up just a touch. And so what a compressor does is it just kind of evens it out. So that sounded pretty good to me. And now I have these snare sounds. So for the snare sounds, they're all going to this snare mic. So what I want to do is I kind of want to even them out level wise, and not worry about plugins first. So I'm going to drop that kick drum down just a touch, and I'm going to work with these. Remember, I have my sample that's beefier, and this natural sounding snare top mic, and the undersnare mic. So I'm going to pull the undersnare mic way down because I don't want it rattling too much. So here's my snare sample. Let's go back to the arrange and rewind here. So that's what was there, and that's why we wanted to beef it up. So these actually sound, I think they sound pretty good with the sample about equal with the top mic. Okay, so that sounded pretty good to me, and the bottom snare is about where I want it. So again, the first thing we're going to start off with on the snare is EQ. And we want to see kind of, again, we're just going to grab one of these and we're going to find out where the attack is. So I hear a lot of attack right around 4K. I'm sure there's some, usually there's a lot of attack in here. Let's give it a listen. But I kind of want that higher pitched crack. So, but we're just not gonna. We're gonna just pull it down. We're gonna do with that high pass filter again, and because we just want to make sure that there's not a whole lot of low end coming from the snare tracks, and we can be a little bit more extreme on this one because we don't need tons of low end coming from the snare. Okay, and snares, just like kick drums, they can do well with a little bit of the medium to low mids pulled out. And then I'm going to pick it up just a touch. I might pull out just a little bit more of that mid and widen that a little bit. Okay, so that sounded good to me.